Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. Big news in media is that Charter Entertainment is essentially going to war with Disney over the carriage fees that they're charging to distribute their channels. So the way that the cable industry has worked for a long time is that cable companies pay companies like Disney to carry ESPN, the Disney Channel, all of the channels that Disney owns in a big bundle, and then pass that fee on. And that's what you pay for with cable. But at the same time, both sides are making money on advertising. Typically, some of the advertising space is allocated to the cable company. But these carriage fees have gotten so big that the cable companies are saying, hey, a lot of our customers just don't value some of these services and don't want to pay $100 a month. Like they don't want to pay $10 for ESPN, which may not be something that they watch. As a result, they're pushing back on some of these carriage fees. And Disney has to make a choice. Do they want to give up some of those fees and keep going with cable? Or do they want to try to push people to streaming? And there's a reason to think that streaming may actually be a better moneymaker long term. This is not something we have seen yet, but I want to go into the numbers and what management has said about this because I think there's more money in particularly streaming advertising than a lot of people think. My name is Travis Hoyam. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And if you like this video, check out my newsletter, Asymmetric Investing, in the show notes. I've been covering the media industry quite a bit on that newsletter in a lot of detail. The thing that I want to start with is the price increase that Disney and Netflix both implemented recently. This is the key here. This is the Disney Plus and then Hulu subscriptions for both premium, which is no ads, and the ad-supported model. Now, to put these numbers into context, what both Bob Iger and Netflix executives have said is that there's enough money in advertising that they need to raise prices for the premium service, the no ad service, to make up for lost revenue when they start pushing ads into the ad supported tiers. So what you're going to see is the delta or the difference between the price for the ad supported tier and the premium tier is going to widen. And the indication is that delta is going to be a proxy for how much opportunity they see in advertising. They actually want to push people down to the advertising tier. That's how much money they're making in advertising. So what does that numbers actually come out to? They're increasing the price of Disney Plus to $14 a month. So that indicates that Disney Plus alone is expecting at least $6 a month in ad-supported revenue. Hulu, on the other hand, is going to $18 a month. So they're seeing about $10. Now, Hulu has been showing ads for a very long time. They know the data behind this. So that makes sense that they expect at least $10 per month in ads from the ad-supported tier. Now, they are willing to bundle these two together, and the bundles are going to be $20 a month. But you can see that there is a big opportunity for advertising on these platforms. Where I think this gets really interesting is when we start thinking about ESPN. Now, what we have heard is that ESPN is asking for about $10 per subscriber from cable networks. There are about 70 million of those subscribers. So that's $700 million per month in carriage fees that they're looking for from ESPN. ESPN Plus has 25 million subscribers, so not the same advertiser base, but ESPN Plus is also not the same product as ESPN. But remember that the content that's on ESPN, that's live sporting content, is actually very valuable to advertisers. So they're going to pay a premium to be on something like Monday Night Football. In theory, that means that ESPN could charge a premium for advertising in that space. Now, if we just take the 70 million subscribers and the $10 per month that ESPN is getting from their carriage fees, and we assume that ESPN Plus can double to, let's say, 50 million subscribers, they would need to generate about $14 per month to offset those carriage fees. That's in addition to any advertising that was existing on ESPN. Given these numbers that I went over for Disney Plus and Hulu and what they're expecting for advertising, I don't think that's out of the question, especially when you consider that ESPN over the top could have much more content. They could potentially show every single NBA game, not just a couple of NBA games per week. The dynamics on the internet and streaming are very different, but you can see that there is a lot of money in advertising. Even Netflix and Disney are seeing that. I mentioned that Netflix is also seeing the same thing with their ad numbers. So I want to give those numbers here. Standard without ads, $15.50, and with ads, $7. So what Netflix is seeing is they can generate at least $8.50 per subscriber for advertising. So this is where things get really interesting is, can a company like Disney make more money on streaming long term than it can through being part of the cable bundle? I think the answer could be yes. There's obviously a lot of opportunity in advertising. We're just starting to scratch the surface of that advertising potential with both Netflix and the Disney properties. So I think in time, that number on a revenue per customer basis could be more like 15, 20, $30 per subscriber, just in advertising revenue. On top of that, you are typically paying for a lot of these services as well. The challenge is that now you bring churn into the mix. Customers can actually stop paying for those services, and that's what becomes very, very costly. We know that the cable bundle is dying and cable itself is on the decline. So as Disney has to make these choices, one of the choices that comes up is, do you go all in on streaming, or do you try to keep this dying cable bundle alive for as long as possible? And I think what we're seeing right now is the money in advertising and streaming is so big that that's what they're ultimately going to go after. Now, that doesn't say that they're going to be successful, but right now they are seeing that the numbers are more attractive than I think we're pricing in as investors right now. So that's one of the reasons I think this is really a potential opportunity for Disney. They have the content to make the bundle, they're in sports, they have the advertising infrastructure. They could make a big go of this and actually, I think, generate a lot more in ad revenue than we think. But what do you think about this transition and what's going on in cable with Disney right now? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.